you're here bright and early, I'm impressed, honestly. I saw all of you roll in at the last minute, though. So you can't act like you were here that early unless you were down at Starbucks. Is that where you were? All right. So before we get started, I want to know my audience, okay? So I want to know how many of you are students full-time? Raise your hand. Okay. How many of you own your own business or right now? Okay. How many of you have a dream to own your own business? Okay. How many of you work inside of a corporation? Okay. How many of you, two more questions. How many of you work inside of a large corporation, enterprise? Okay, what about small, medium business? Thank you very much. Okay, now I know a little bit more about you. All right, so today I have to go really fast because we have 80 slides in 30 minutes. Not really. You really think I would do that to you? No. Okay. I would never do that to you. But I want to tell you as we go throughout this conversation today, and it really is a conversation, that I want you to embrace the journey, okay? And can you promise me that you are going to have an open mind and an open perspective, like of maybe thinking about things differently than you've done in the past? Because have you noticed everywhere around us in this digital and social world, what is the one guarantee we have? Change, right? Even things I'm going to talk to you about today, all of us could wake up tomorrow, or even it could be later today, and it could be completely different, right? So we have to embrace the fact that change is inevitable, and it's always going to be there. We can't get grumpy about it. We can't yell at our coworkers. We can yell at Zuckerberg, but it's not going to help us much, right? We have to just keep moving forward and know that it's a journey in everything that we're doing, right? And I truly believe that the people and the brands that win in this space are the people who never give up, right? And the people that we get knocked down, we get back up. We get knocked down, we get back up. You may have to pivot, you may have to rebuild, you may have to reinvent your entire business or yourself, but you keep moving, okay? So, if I can get these slides, I'm learning there's a bit of a delay with that. Okay, so everything is gonna be okay. How many of you have seen all the announcements recently from Facebook, okay? So not only have there been huge changes with their algorithm, and you know, a lot of the things they've announced, I've had some predictions I've been saying and reasons why they've done some of the things they've done. I think a lot of the reasons they did what they did in changing the algorithm was what we're seeing now come out with privacy. What we're seeing now come out, a lot of this stuff they knew, they were busted, is my opinion. And so some of these changes, yes, they want to take a stab at the big publishers, and they're tired of them making money off of their back, but as a business leader or marketer or student, we can't spend all day thinking and worrying about these things. Do y'all agree? I mean, we can't change what Mark Zuckerberg and his team are doing right now. We can maybe have influence with a voice together, but I believe our time is better spent on serving our customers. Is there anybody that agrees with me? Okay, that's where we need to focus. So it's time to get your game face on. And who heard Dre yesterday? Is he amazing? Yeah. So I want you to think about everything he talked about with mindset. That's how you're gonna win. You can learn the technology. You can learn everything you need to learn. I mean, the students here, you're at an amazing university. I mean, you have resources everywhere you turn to learn these things. There's no excuse. So a lot of it is your mindset, whether you're going to win or whether you're gonna fail. So you also need to be ready to work, okay? It's not easy. It's not going to be handed to you on a silver platter. I can't tell you how many people will sign up for one of our courses or webinars or come and hear me speak, and they will come and tell me, I have been looking for years for the magic silver bullet, and you made me realize it doesn't exist, okay? There's no other way to do this except for work. And as soon as you accept the fact you're going to have to roll up your sleeves for as long as you're in this ecosystem, then that's how we're all going to win together. So the other thing is not letting the technology control us, okay? So it's not what is Mark Zuckerberg going to do for us today, right? How many times have you heard so many people complaining that the organic reach is declining, right? That Facebook is not doing what we want them to do. Does Facebook owe us anything? Okay, are they in business to help did Mark start Facebook to only serve our business and to help us make money? He owes us nothing, right? We don't pay him unless we're advertising. So for us to continue to get mad is not going to help. What we need to focus on, it's what can we do with the technology? Like, we need to take ownership back of how we manage our presence online and not be dependent on Facebook or Twitter or LinkedIn and on rented land. Yes, we're using them. Yes, I'm not saying turn your back on them. But your business should not live or die if one of these platforms go away. How many of you could have major impact to your business right now if one of them went away? None of you. That's good. You're all rock stars. Right. So how many of you feel that this image here looks a little familiar? What's happening in the world today? What's happening online? Is it getting noisy? Right? And so what do? Particularly in the B2B space. What do? We yell at each other? Are we like, hey, come over here, read my blog, listen to my podcast, right? Watch my video, read my quote, share this. We're all screaming at each other, right? Our consumers are somewhere in the middle of this image saying, what are you all talking about, right? Why are you posting 20 times a day on Facebook? Just because Mark Zuckerberg told us to, okay? Just because you're told by Facebook that engagement is one of the top KPIs you need to be looking at, key performance indicators, that doesn't mean that's the top KPI for your business to succeed. How many of you are targeting, for example, B2B professionals and leaders for your business? Okay? How many of you know that what percentage of your customers are actually engaging with any business content on Facebook? Okay? I just presented at an event in Canada a month ago that had almost 3,000 C-level executives down to executive directors, director of marketing, okay? I asked them straight out, how many of you are engaging with business content on Facebook? Less than 5 people raised their hand, okay? So you may be in a market that your target customer is not engaging with content that's business related on Facebook, or whatever your industry is. So if you are looking at a metric that's based on engagement on Facebook, are you going to be able to succeed? No? So we work with brands of all sizes, from large enterprise brands down to entrepreneurs that are funded. And I'll tell you, 99.9% of our customers that have ever hired us have not ever engaged with our content publicly before they came and hired us for some very large contracts. So you have to really know your customer and know your data. Traditional marketing is obviously not the same as it used to be, right? Things that we depended on, they are just completely turning upside down. And marketers used to believe that they could maybe control the message. We thought we had some control over the channel. That's completely changing. The organic reach of social media is declining to 0. Right? We can still get it. There's still some ways we can get it. There's, you get the right content posted on any of these channels and you can make it work. There are some magical things that are happening on LinkedIn right now. How many of you are playing or having a lot of success on LinkedIn? I mean, I've posted organic videos there recently that are getting 50,000 views organically. I posted a verse from church the other day, a Bible verse. I mean, it had like 28,000 views, like 300 likes on it. Okay, so it took me like 2 seconds to do that. So we want to look in between the cracks. That's why I have this picture here. I want you to look in between the cracks, or where are the areas that you can get organic reach that not everybody else is there yet, right? It's how can we jump ahead? Because the average human attention span is about 8 seconds. I actually saw them talking about this. I think it was on the Today Show the other day. It's funny when you start to see traditional media really understanding these things too. And how many of you have a fidget spinner? These things didn't even last long enough for me to get one. Seriously. I have a 14 and a 17-year-old, and by the time I said, I want one of those, my 14-year-old was, Mom, that's old. Like, you would look crazy if you had one of those. So, our human brain processes visuals 60,000 times faster than traditional text. Why does this matter? Because we have an attention span of 8 seconds, okay? We need to be using visuals in everything we're doing, whether it is video, whether it is blog post we're writing, whether it is even supporting images that you send people to for a podcast, right? We need to think about storytelling and how can we make it easy for people to understand who we are and engage with their content. The point of inspiration is changing, and we no longer have to go to the mountains or to the beach, wherever you go to get inspired. We can open up our phone every day, and there's a lot of people wanting to inspire us. I have a list of blogs that I try to read every day. I go to for content that I curate. I have people that inspire me. I mean, how many of you go to the social web for inspiration on a daily basis? Only a few of you. Oh, more, okay. And what happens in this room stays in this room, so you can't be afraid. It's only being live streamed to the world. That they can't see who you are. So by 2019, 80% of the world's internet traffic is going to be video, okay? I'm not gonna give you a ton of slides on stats on these things. I'm not here to sell you social media, okay? I just want you to know you need to be, if you're not doing video, you need to be thinking about video, okay? You need to be thinking about how is your audience going to be able to learn from you with video. And even if your market maybe doesn't watch live stream right now, there are some markets, I know for us in the B2B market, that's why we have not spent a ton of time there on video. I know my market, they don't have time to watch video all day. I want to know how many of you in here watch live stream every day? Okay, there's like 3 people. How many of you watch live stream on a weekly basis, at least 1 hour? Okay, so we have maybe 30 people, okay? Don't chase shiny objects. If you're going to use live stream, make sure you know your customer and find a unique way to do it. If you're going to use video, same thing. Things that are working for a lot of brands today are customer testimonials, okay? Demos, behind the scenes, you know, showing your customer, your target customer, something that they can't get otherwise. So content that is useful, answering simple questions in a different way. So I have only a few stat slides, I promise. But I wanted you to see some updated numbers on adoption of the different social networks. So Facebook is definitely still in lead. It's forecasted that they are at 60.6% right now of overall internet users, okay? With Instagram right behind them at 37.4, and the numbers for Instagram are expected to grow very fast. They're predicting Instagram to decline, particularly in the younger market. It goes down to like 60.2 only in 2018. But if you are not on Facebook and Instagram, you're already setting yourself up to fail. I don't care what business you're in. I don't care how mad we get at what's happening on Facebook today. We need to be there, okay? Snapchat, that's if you were targeting a younger market, and if you were targeting, and you can do the research and find out that your market is there. I encourage you with Snapchat to do your research and do some tests. We work a lot, one of our clients is L'Oreal, and we do training for the Redken salons, all the Redken salons nationally, and we've done and seen a lot of tests that are happening with Snapchat, and you would think stylists, right, hairstylists, that they would be very successful using Snapchat. What we've actually seen is they've used Snapchat as a salon, and sometimes even as a stylist, and it attracts a Snapchat user, but they can't afford the service. So it's attracting people that cannot afford it, and they come in, they want this beautiful image, and then they get very frustrated and they leave and they go write a bad review. So it's actually hurting some of these salons, big and small, more than it's helping them. Okay, so you need to know who is that person that's coming in, okay? Pinterest, we all know Pinterest, you know, a big market there is moms. It's, you know, there's also a market for men, but moms are the key there. There's a lot of stuff happening there with food and foodies, and I can never get a recipe to look like, okay, I can get it to look like it, an image on Pinterest, but I cannot get it to look and taste like it. Is anyone with me? Okay, if it looks good, it doesn't taste good. If it tastes good, it looks crazy. And then Twitter is another one that you can't, ignore. The numbers, when you look at the numbers, you're like, well, why do we need to worry about that? You do. Particularly if you're in a B2B market, you need to be there. You can do a lot with hashtags, on some of these platforms, Twitter being one of them, as well as Instagram. And then we have LinkedIn, right? So LinkedIn is another platform that we definitely don't want to ignore, particularly if you were in the B2B space or even if you were in the B2C market, but you are targeting people who have a job. If you are targeting people who make money, people who are professional and you want them to buy your products and services, you can connect with them on LinkedIn. 56% of people would rather message a brand versus call and talk to a human. Does that surprise you? Nope. Facebook Messenger. How many of you are using Facebook Messenger personally? Okay, good job. How many of you are using Facebook Messenger for your business? All right. There are 1.3 billion users on Facebook Messenger. Okay, who doesn't know what Facebook Messenger really is or why? Okay, we have a few people. So Facebook Messenger is an app, okay, that you're going to be able to install on your phone. Is an app that any Facebook user can download, and we can communicate with each other. We can do group chats, we can share video, the list is long. From a business perspective, you can acquire new customers, you can serve your customers, okay? So you can increase leads, you can increase sales. You can do it through what we call a bot, which is automated communication. Your bot is like your personal assistant, okay? So the bot sits there on your Facebook Messenger waiting for people to send a message, and you can set it up so it can reply, it can send a video, it can send a link, it can shoot them to a contact page, it can provide excellent service and do some of those mundane tasks that maybe you don't have enough staff to do, or maybe you want your staff to be able to do more important things. 330 plus million people connected with a small business on Messenger for the first time in 2017. I love that number because that means I love to see that it's helping small business, and I love the fact that people are starting to test it out as a channel. So I think it can really improve customer service. There are over 5 billion emojis, so all those little smiley faces, that are sent daily on Messenger. Okay, why does that matter? It matters because people are going to Messenger because they are connecting with other people, okay? The most popular reaction on Messenger is love. So what does that tell us? They're communicating about things they like in Messenger. They're getting away for the short term from the ads, but now Facebook is putting ads in Messenger, okay? But for a long time, they were getting away from the ads. We're connecting with family, we're connecting with friends, we're connecting with business. So right now, it's still a happy place, right? We want to make sure our business is always looking to those areas where it's a happy place, where our customers want to be, where they're engaging in a unique way. Because not only in Messenger, but in social media overall, we are building relationships through conversation, right? Do y'all agree? It's an opportunity for us to build relationships through a conversation. And while that presents incredible opportunity, it also creates challenges because not every brand and business and marketer or business owner has the perfect skills to have conversations that build relationships, right? It's not natural for everybody. And if we look at the social web today, the way that we measure success, if you really think about it, our social currency equals attention plus action, right? If we do not first get attention, if we can't get at least those first 2 to 3 seconds viewed of our video, we're never going to get that customer to know who we are or to take action, right? So you think about when you scroll your news feed, how fast do you go? You think, and if you look at some of the different demographics, you'll see young people, they'll go really fast. I can watch my kids are like, and then you can look at some of the older generations, they're going slow. They may be reading slower, okay? So that attention may be larger for your demographic, whoever you're targeting. So know and get in their head and think about how fast are they viewing this? What am I going to do to grab attention, but in an authentic way, other than just bright colors? And then if we don't get them to take action, it's all for nothing, right? If we can't get them at some point to take an action, it takes 6 to 7 brand touches before somebody will even remember your brand, will even remember who you are on average. So communities create markets, and there has never been a marketer that has come to me and said, hey Pam, I have so much money and so much time, I don't know what to do with it, so I think I'm going to give it to you and your agency, and we want to spend it all on social media, okay? Said no marketer or business owner ever. The first thing they ask me is always, how can I get to the right side of this slide? Show me the money, Pam. When am I going to have an ROI? And for those of you, how many of you work in a social media or marketing role in your company and you're trying to win budget constantly? My recommendation to you is that you do not try to boil the ocean. You focus on the backyard pond or the koi's in the front yard. That you win your budget in 30, 60, 90-day increments. I can't tell you how many clients we've worked with where we have helped them win large budgets by a 90-day program. And you say, give me 90 days and let me show you what we can do. And you don't promise sales, you promise goals that are achievable and are realistic. And what you need to do is facilitate the conversation in your organization so that people are focused on understanding how your community is actually going to move through your sales funnel, okay? You have to earn the trust. You have to build those relationships. You have an opportunity to earn a customer, to earn somebody that's going to tell everybody about you. But it's not going to happen the day you start your Facebook page. I mean, we've had clients, honestly, that we've helped, and in 30 days they're mad they don't have new clients on Facebook, okay? And it's like an industrial client that's selling lighting or something. It's not going to happen overnight. So if you're working in a company, make sure you're not promising things that you can't deliver. You got to be realistic. And if your management can't handle that, then you are going to have to maybe even find another job, because you're not going to be able to be successful if you can't achieve what you need to achieve in your role. Because the first time that you go interview for a new job, they're going to say, what did you do at your last job? And just saying, I just fought with my management to try to get budget is not going to get you the job, right? It was so difficult, I just couldn't get anything done. Next. So those of you that are just starting in your career, it's so important that you understand these methodologies so that you can properly manage your program as well as your own career path. So don't start with the technology, right? When I say the word social media to you, what's the first thing that comes to your mind? Anybody? Facebook? People will usually say Facebook, Instagram. I want you to think about people, right? So this is a methodology we use from Forrester Research, and it's people, objectives, strategy, and tactics and technology. So first focus on your audience. Who are they? What are their needs? What are their objectives? Get down to that buyer persona level, right? The first time you go to do an ad on Facebook, Facebook asks you, who are you targeting? And you cannot answer 25 to 65-year-old person. Your ads are not going to perform. You need to know who that person is. Where do they work? What do they do? What are they wanting to do? How many kids do they have? Is it a stay-at-home mom? What are the hours of the day that she's online, right? You don't want to target a stay-at-home mom on Monday morning the same way you would target somebody who's commuting into an office that's a professional working mom. They're in a different mindset on Monday. Do you all agree? The mom is like, oh my gosh, I'm finally on Facebook. Like, give me some relief. The working mom is like, I don't have time to think about Facebook or Pinterest. Like, I don't know how I'm going to make it through the meetings I have this morning, okay? So you have to get in the head of where your customer is. Find those, if you're targeting multiple demographics, focus on the synergies where they come together. Sunday nights, every mom is usually doing laundry. I finally changed my laundry day to Wednesday, because I was not successful on Monday. Now I get more people in my household to help me on Wednesday. But know where their head is at. Know where the overlaps are. And then your strategy is really, where do you want that relationship to be with that customer? Okay, is it transactional now and you want it to be more relational? Or is it relational now, they love you, but they don't buy anything from you, right? How many of you have those people in your communities? Okay, so if you know that you have people that love you, but they don't buy from you, but they have the money to buy from you, then you need to build a strategy that's going to help them get to know you better, to test out your services, to experience what you have to offer. Your videos, your content, your blog posts, your podcasts, should all be built around moving that relationship to the next level, not focusing only on engagement because Mark tells us we need to do engagement. Do you get where this is going? If you focus on the needs of your customer and where you want that relationship to be, you're not worried about a huge algorithm change, although sometimes they will affect us. But that's not the focus of your life on the social web. And then last, we choose the technology that enables us to do those things. And then Facebook becomes a medium. Twitter becomes a medium. Audio becomes a medium. How many of you are using podcasting or audio? It's incredible, right? I mean, people can multitask with it. I think people are really going to be using audio even more. We're going to see a surge in it. If you have not thought about doing a podcast for your business, you really need to think of it. We launched ours back in 2014 as a test, and we've had over 1.5 million downloads of our podcast. Okay, just of me talking. I'm like, why are y'all listening to me? But I share nothing but just tips and strategies. You all have so much information in your head that the world wants to hear, right? That the world can learn, and you can teach it to them in a different way. Make sure that we're always aligning social to our business goals, right? What are our goals? Pick those goals where social can have the absolute greatest impact. And stomp the random acts of marketing. How many of you have had problems with this? Be honest. Okay. You walk into a meeting on Monday, you get assigned, everybody's like, okay, Pam, can you work on this project? There's no budget, and it needs to be done in the next 30 days, and it's huge, right? And our CEO is all over it. We're like, okay. What happens the next Monday? Another one gets put on, another one gets put on. And in 30, 60 days, your management comes to you and they say, how's that project going, Pam? Is it doing well? Well, you never set metrics for success. You never had a budget. You didn't integrate it with anything else you're doing. You have no way to even say if it's doing good or not. Okay, I spent 15 years in corporate before starting my own company. I lived this life, right? And I was able to succeed in my career by stomping random acts of marketing. We need to do the same thing in our small business or wherever you are, right? We need to stomp the randomness. And particularly with what's happening online today, you need to know how everything you're doing is integrating together, okay? So how is your Facebook strategy integrating with your email marketing strategy? How are you integrating with what you're doing with your Facebook Messenger bot if you're using that? How are you integrating with what you are doing for paid media? Okay, influencer marketing. All these things should work together, online, offline. We're working with a large car manufacturer right now and helping them with their dealerships and looking at really bringing together offline with online activation, integrating influencer marketing, doing things that haven't been done, right, at a local level with hyper-local combined with digital and social, right? That's where a lot of things are moving. So no matter what your business is, if you have a business people are coming into, how can you bring together, you know, I like to call them movers and shakers, you know, the influencers in your community. They may not have that many people that follow them online, but they have one tweet from them, one Facebook post from them is going to make people pay attention to who you are, okay? People are tired of spam. How many of you are tired of email spam? Okay. How many of you are tired of being pushed to landing pages that are spammy or that don't work, that overpromise and underdeliver? We're tired of losing trust. Do you all agree with me? I mean, are you tired of brands letting you down over and over and over again? Like, I gave you another chance. I gave you another chance. And consumers are tired of not having control. Like, we have to, you think of the privacy issues right now. We have to give a lot of data away to get a lot of the things we need and want. It's the price that we pay. I don't see it going away. I mean, how many of you plan to delete Facebook? Nobody. Is there anybody? Okay, I have one person. Anybody else? Okay, 2 people. So there's less than 5 people that are actually going to delete Facebook, okay? It's not, in a few months, we'll forget about it. Unless, you know, I think there's going to be some change that is happening. I listened to some things that happened in the UK yesterday. They were railing the guys, one of the whistleblowers. You know, it is very interesting. And what it comes down to is intent, okay? When you look at what's happening with Facebook right now, and what happened with Cambridge, how many of you have been following that? Okay. A lot of it is about intent. Intent of why they did what they did, right? Leveraging status of a university, leveraging status of nonprofit, the intent they had to create that data. Do you agree that that is part of the huge problem? That they manipulated systems and data to get what they want and to make money and to manipulate decisions. That's when people get very frustrated. And so as marketers, we need to think about our intent as well, okay? What is our intent when we hop online every day? What is our intent when we post a video? What's our intent when we do a live stream? What's our intent when we do a podcast? What's our intent with that tweet? Every post you have, think about what your intent is. And do you have the right intent? Go take a look at your social feed from the last 30 days. Go to wherever you hang out the most and look at your business posts. What was your intent of those posts? If your posts were only focused on an intent to sell, do you think you're going to do very well? I mean, you have to look inside at what your intent is. Over time, you will earn the trust. You will earn the ability to share more links, right? But because your audience trusts you and they like you and they love you and they want that content. But particularly when you're first starting out, you have to make sure that you don't look like these two guys, okay? So do people really want to talk about your product? And particularly if they don't know you. If I don't know you, do I really want to talk? If a new shoe manufacturer, well, okay, maybe I shouldn't use shoes because women always want to talk about shoes. Okay, so if somebody came in here with some type of widget and we didn't know what it was and they just started talking about it, would we really care what it was? Especially if it had no interest to us? Okay, the same thing goes for when we are talking about ourselves online. So, do you really know your customer? On a scale of 1 to 5, hold up your hand, how many of you feel, on a 5 being high, how well do you know your customer? Hold up your hand. So, a 1, not very well. 5, you extremely know your customer. Like you could write a buyer persona 1-page worksheet on them right now, and you and I could go do a Facebook ad together, and we could rock it. Okay, so it looks like there's a lot of 2s, 3s, and 5s. Right, so good. So you have got to get in the head of your customer so that you can emotionally connect with them. Okay, brands that inspire a higher emotional intensity receive 3 times as much word of mouth as less emotionally connected brands. Find a way to make your brands, your customers smile. Find a way to make them laugh. Find a way to make them cry. Find a way, whatever you do, to make them feel something. You may want it to even get them fired up and frustrated about a movement that you're working on. Make them feel something. Because when we feel something, we take action. Right? When we feel a reason of why, and we know your intent is good, and we trust your motivations, we trust who you are, and what you're telling us is true, we're going to take that right action. We're going to trust you to take that risk. We want to make sure we're also embracing what I call the OPCs, and it's not to be confused with the OPP, you know me. We've done a lot of workshops where I actually have people dance to that song. So y'all are lucky you're not doing that. But it's other people's content and other people's community, okay? And this is where you should not be afraid to share some of your top competitors' content. When you do that, you're tapping into their community as well. Okay, you are able to give your audience great value of a trusted resource in your industry. When I first started online back in, well, I worked in corporate for 15 years, but when I started my own business in early 2010, I spent almost 6 months just doing social listening, barely starting my blog, and sharing other people's content. I can't tell you how incredible the payoff was for that in building relationships and trust, okay? Because when you first start out, people don't know you, they don't trust you. You earn trust over time. And then also we talked about influencers, and it's an incredible way for you to expand your reach, particularly in a world where organic traffic is dying. When you tap into the power of even micro influencers online, they don't need to be Kim Kardashian. You can tap into those micro influencers that they have people that are listening to them every single day already, right? They're listening to their podcasts or watching those videos, and they have the ears, the eyes, and the hearts of your target audience. Those are the influencers you want to work with. And you don't always have to pay them. Right? We have some free webinars out on our sites where you can learn about how to do that. You are the media. How many of you have ever thought about that you personally are the media? Have you ever thought about it like that? Raise your hand if you have. Okay. Think about Facebook as an example. What happens every time you do a refresh or you go to comment on a post? That page refreshes, right? And then what happens? A new ad appears, right? So new ads will appear. Think if you're on your desktop on the right-hand side, we are the media. We are the product that's being sold. But you could get all negative about that, or we could get positive about that and say, we have a lot of opportunity. So how many of you have a personal branding strategy for yourself? Good, we have 3 people. Okay, anybody else? Raise them higher. Maybe I'm just not seeing you. Okay, you have to build your personal branding strategy. How many of you right now are utilizing social media with your personal brand, trying to sell something or do something? Okay. How many of you want to, but you don't feel comfortable? Okay. So you have to figure out your own strategy. You have a personal brand right now, whether you've consciously designed it or not. Okay? You have a personal brand. Sitting here, you have a personal brand. What you're wearing, the way that you walked in here, whether you were early in the front row like all these people, or whether you rolled in late or you came in early and you're in the back. Okay? So that's part of your persona. It's part of who you are. Whether your socks match or they don't, right? It's the cool thing now. My kids don't match their socks. They don't care if they're clean, which is half the problem, right? Usually we try to fix that. But that's part of their brand, right? As kids, like I have a 14 and a 17-year-old. They know today more than some of the clients that come to us to help them. They know about building their personal brand. Of course, they live with 2 marketers, but they know the power and the importance of every post they put on Instagram. That it is part of their DNA of who they are. It's not going to go away. Even if you delete it, those tweets can still come up 7 years later in a social report. Okay, they get curated on places. Your brand is made up of perceptions. It's what people say about you when you walk in, what they say about you when you leave a room. Okay, it's how you drive. It's what you post. It's our digital body language, what we comment on, how nice we are when we write an email back to a company that spammed us. Okay, so if you sign up for a subscription and you think somebody's spamming you and they really didn't, and you write a nastygram email back, that maybe was your future boss that you just sent that nastygram email to. Okay? So every action we take, driving, I mean, I have so many stories even on driving that it's impacted people's business and careers. Okay? Everything we do is a perception of our brand. So is what you are doing working? Would you say today the things that you're doing are working? Yes or no? Raise your hand if what you think you're doing is working. Or do you need to make change? Okay, so how many events or social media training, like webinar types of things, have you participated in? A lot? A lot? How many videos do you think you've watched? A lot? Okay, how many blog posts and books have you written? Or read? A lot? Podcasts? Okay, how many tools and technology have you spent time and money on and wasted it and signed up for a subscription and then you've never used it? Or you have some huge social monitoring and social listening platform that you paid for that was overkill that somebody sold you and you know how to use it, but you have no idea who your customer is still. Okay, how many email lists are you subscribed to right now? Too many? So I want you to think about where you're spending your time and who you are, right? What is the foundation for what you're building your brand on? What are the morals that you stand on, right? When I started my business, I mean, I left corporate after many years, and a lot of people will come to me and they're like, well, Pam, you just have it easy. You've always done marketing. I built everything I've done by myself. I didn't have money handed to me. My dad committed suicide when I was 16. I had a single mom. I had nothing that was given to me. I started my business, and I remember I finally made it to 100 followers on Twitter. And that was back when people actually followed people on Twitter. They read their tweets. And I remember I went to church on a Sunday, and I came home, and I was sitting by my husband on the couch, and I tweeted something, and I was going to put the word God in there, okay? And I was feeling inspired and motivated. And I looked at him, and I said, I wonder how many followers I'm going to lose when I tweet this. And I tweeted it. I had 100 followers. Can anybody guess how many I lost? 50%. 50%. okay? And I had people that complained, and I looked at my husband, and I said, you know what? There's gonna be 50 more where those came from. And if you don't like the way that I live my life and my faith, that's your problem, not mine. I won't judge you. I don't care what your religion is. I'm not gonna push mine on you. But we have over 1 million followers now across all of our social. I have over 300,000 on Twitter. We've never bought one. And I'll tell you, the way we've grown our audience is by serving and by giving and by always having an intent that we try to keep wholesome and authentic and good. And we fall down. There's times we get into sales mode and we try to reset. We have to pivot. I mean, we've gotten knocked down 10 times and stand up again, right? And I'm sure we'll do it over and over. So my point is that you can't give up. No matter where you are, no matter how much money you have or don't have, you have to keep going and just think about maybe it's a new perspective that you need, right? Maybe it's not Mark's fault, Mark Zuckerberg. Maybe you just need a different perspective on how you're going to utilize this technology as you go forward, because every single one of you in here are more than capable to rock it, to succeed, to achieve whatever goals you have, right? And you dream big. And I love Dre's presentation yesterday talking about the third day, right? And it's so important. It's easy the first day, the second day, but it's the third day, and it's the consistency. You know, you start a new idea, you start a new project, you're like, we're gonna do this. By the third day, you're like having a problem motivating your team or whatever it may be. We have to have a perspective and expect that it's gonna be hard, because it is. Expect that change is gonna come. Expect that you're gonna launch a website and you're gonna integrate all these things we talked about, and some huge announcement's gonna change and everything breaks all your images. Like nothing shares to social the right way. How many of you have experienced that, right? All the geeks in the room. And I'm proud geek, so if I call you a geek, that's a compliment. But we have to expect change and embrace it and not be negative about it. If you embrace it, like, all right, here we go again. There goes half my day to go fix this stuff. It's what we gotta do. And you gotta shuffle the deck and refocus and say, okay, reprioritize. I can't tell you, I have to do that every week, right? And plus we're dealing with things from our clients. So that's really where I want you to focus as you go into 2018, and know that you are going to reap what you socially sow. Okay, what you put into this online world, you're gonna get out of it, just like we do in the real world. You know, we wanna focus on how we inspire, how we empower, how we help people grow. And you know, that's a huge reason why we stopped and changed. We did a pivot in the last 2 years, and we've really changed our business model now, where instead of doing execution, we are focused on education, right? We saw so many people in businesses that did not have the money and the time to be able to learn and do these things. We were turning down hundreds of businesses every year that we could not help. They wanted our help, but they could not afford us. And so that's why we launched our training academy. That's why, you know, we go out, you'll see me speaking a lot more now over the next few years, because we've been behind the scenes building things the last couple years so we could take this change. So, you know, I wish all of you the greatest success. We have a training academy that you can check out, and if you want more information on that, we'll try to get it in your Facebook group. And we do have some savings for everybody here, but it's a social profit factor. And I'm around till early this afternoon, so you can feel free to come ask me any questions. And I'm always online on Twitter. Yeah, I'm just a tweet away, but I wish you all the greatest success, and I wish you a great rest of your conference.